Welcome to the Average AF Podcast with your hosts, Adam McElroy and Stephen Hardy.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is episode 5 of the Average AF Podcast. It's kind of crazy that we're already on episode 5.
Oh yeah, I think we in there, bro. We in there.
We actually made a kind of a pact at the beginning to do a minimum of 8 episodes. Because, you know, all the information I got before we started said podcasts usually last about 7, and then people end up quitting. So we made a pact to do at least 8, and we're over halfway there.
Man.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll. I think what helps with that is that we're not a specific. We don't discuss just sports or just this or just that. And that definitely, I mean, you imagine just talking only sports for 8,000 episodes. Right. I mean, you'd run out of shit eventually.
And actually, that's some of the feedback I got too, was like, we need to find a niche kind of audience and stuff. And
yeah,
I get it, but at the same time, I don't want to be restricted by that.
Right.
And, you know, all the podcasts I listen to aren't about the same shit.
Right.
They're basically comedian podcasts or, you know, comic podcasts and stuff. And they just talk about everyday life and whatever kind of comes up. So that's kind of what I'm trying to mirror. But yeah, it's crazy that we're already 5 in, man.
Hey. And we the first one was it 5 weeks ago? Then 4 now.
It would have been 4.
Did 2.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
A month in. Yep. 5 episodes. Crazy. But yeah, so this week we're actually going to do a full episode of just fan questions. We actually just recorded a previous episode just a couple days ago. Changing up the recording days, so the quick turnaround. We just wanted to answer some fun questions that you guys had for us. Some fun ones, a couple serious ones, but yeah. So let's get into it here. The first one was actually from my best friend Jeremiah. This one's definitely interesting, but he said Einstein, Tesla, and Leonardo da Vinci. You have to smoke with one, drink with one, and you have to fight one. You know, who would you pick?
Jerry.
What you got?
As far as smoking, I would definitely probably have to pick Einstein.
Okay.
I think, and you know, knowing what I know about him, I don't think he did anything. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah,
but yeah, I don't think anybody really knows. But I think out of the 3, he'd be the funnest to smoke with him. So based off of that fact alone.
I'll let you do your 3 and then I'll do mine.
Okay. So that means I would have to drink with... Dude, I don't... I mean... Tesla, I guess, and I will be fighting Da Vinci.
Right.
I really don't have a reason why.
So I got some reasons.
Okay.
So mine originally was exactly the same as yours, but while you're talking, I switched it up because. So I would definitely fight Da Vinci for sure. Right. He's a painter, you know. He's not shit, you know, artistic or whatever. He can't fight. No, I don't know. But so I would fight Da Vinci. And then I was going to drink with Tesla, smoke with Einstein, but I think I'm going to reverse that.
Okay.
Because I want to smoke with Tesla because I wouldn't want to drink with Tesla because he's already insane. And it's just going to kind of put him over the edge and he's going to go crazy and it's going to be fun, but it's going to be wild.
Right.
So I want to smoke with Tesla, hopefully kind of dull him down a little bit and then have some cool conversations or something like that.
Okay.
And then get wasted with Einstein. I think he was a drunk, actually.
Really?
Einstein.
Okay.
I think I could be way wrong, but
okay.
I don't know.
I don't know what his communication skills are like.
I don't know what any of them are like.
So I mean, yeah, I guess. But I mean, they're all 3 probably. You could probably all say the smartest shit.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if I drunk with Einstein, we end up just sitting there.
Yeah.
And he would just like go into his own little world and start doing math equations on a piece of paper somewhere. And I'd be like, dude, what you doing?
That's fair.
And he would just look at me and just keep going. So
I feel like Tesla, if you drank with Tesla though, he would like kind of get like the as far as an excitement standpoint, like the Hitler excitement, he'd be like all over the place and like, let's take over the city and like
not fun.
Crazy shit.
I don't want to drink with people like that.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of want to dull him down.
Okay.
But originally I had the same answers.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would smoke with Tesla, fight Da Vinci, and drink with Einstein. Steve would smoke with Einstein, drink with Tesla, and we're both fucking
Both beating the shit out of him. And then hopefully he'll make a painting of how we beat his fucking ass.
Right.
Hey, Jerry, I want to know your answers to this. So text Adam, text me, through Adam, whatever you got to fucking do. I want to know your answers and why, sir.
Yeah.
That's
a great question.
Yes.
Next one was actually from Mercedes. She just wanted us to kind of talk about things that mentally stimulate us and like make us think, and then how too much stimulation can actually turn into being burnt out.
I guess I'm starting.
Yep.
Now, in your question, Mercedes, first of all, shout out to you, whoever you are.
That's my niece.
Oh, shout out to niece. In your question, you got certain rappers, TV shows, jobs, schools, media. There's definitely probably the most mentally stimulating rapper for me is my favorite. I'll keep going to Jay-Z. I'm sorry,
We
but
talk about him a lot.
I do, man, because I respect him on so many levels. But he's got songs, and I'm sure a lot of people do. A lot of his bars, though, they're not intellectually. When you listen to them, they're not very intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can understand, like the average Joe can understand what he's saying, but he has so many double entendres and shit within his words and like triple meanings and shit.
Right.
There's lines that I've heard like for the first time, and then 3 years later I'll hear it, and then like, oh shit, it'll go into a completely different context for me.
Yep.
There's a few rappers that do that, but Jay-Z probably does it the most. I had to put him on that list for sure. As far as like TV shows, I'm a documentary guy.
Yeah.
I really like watching anything like real reality based. I hate saying reality TV because that's not what reality TV is, you know, by definition. But like real shit.
Cops. You get sweaty watching Cops?
I used to watch a lot of Cops.
Yeah.
But then I started realizing like why. Like if
make you paranoid.
I mean, yeah. Like why do I watch Cops? I couldn't really figure it, and I stopped watching it. Let me see, documentaries. I really like psychological thrillers.
Yep.
Like Inception.
Inception's
complete
great.
mindfuck.
Yep.
The Shining. I recently watched that one for the first time last year. That one, I love movies that do that to you. That kind of when the credits roll, you kind of think about what happened and what it meant, and and it kind of changes your perception on something. So.
Right. Yeah, for me, a lot of the same stuff. Rap in general. Eminem's a big one. But I pretty much try to, not completely, but try to more or less limit the rap that I listen to being only stuff that does stimulate me in general. So pretty much anybody on my playlist stimulate me in, one way or another.
Okay.
But that's what music is for me, is to kind of appreciate how they put words together and all that kind of stuff. So just rap in general. And then for me, podcasts, I mean, that's kind of what got me into wanting to do a podcast. Is I actually, with the help of hip hop, I enjoy, I guess, listening to people talk. I really do. I just like to learn who people are and, learn what kind of drives them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it started with, like I said, hip hop, but then I found myself looking up rapper interviews and stuff like that and trying to see who they are more behind the scenes. Podcasts, you can't really hide your true self on an hour-long podcast. It's gonna basically come out one way or the other.
Fact. Yeah, I like that one.
Gary V is always a good motivator.
Jesus.
Yeah, he always kind of gets me back in line. There is forget what it's called now, but there's a certain video of his that I'll kind of go to every couple months when I'm not really feeling up to, doing everything I need to do. And it just kind of gets me back in line. So for me, it boils down to kind of people talking. That's that's my, mental stimulation. I just like to know who people are and learn their opinions on stuff, whether I believe it or, not, or whether I agree with you or not. I like to know everybody's opinions. There's a fine line between knowing everybody's opinion and caring about everybody's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care about it in the sense that it's going to necessarily change me or anything like that, but I want to give it a view from their perspective and kind of maybe get a more full image of the situation that's going on.
Yep, I can definitely feel a lot of that. The second question, I guess, or the second part of your question about the burnout. I had to think about that one for a little bit because obviously your mind's being stimulated when you learn something new. When I first thought about the question, I thought about me trying to learn piano.
Okay.
And I do experience a burnout, but it's only for brief moments in time. Like I'll sit, and that's with anything I've noticed for myself. If I'm learning something new or learning to do something for the first time, I can give it 20 minutes, hardcore, straight, focused effort, and then I kind of plateau, or where I can't almost absorb new information, so I have to take a break. Right. 10, 15 minutes, get my mind completely off of it. Go do something, go clean something,
right.
And then be able to come right back to it, and then I can continue.
There's actually something to that with kind of from a psychological standpoint.
Okay.
I think it's the 10-80-10 rule, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that basically means when you're trying to learn something, the 10% at the front of whatever you're learning, you're probably not going to remember. And the 10% at the end, you're probably not going to remember. So you'll remember the bulk in the middle.
Okay.
So they actually tell you when you're studying for a test to study for actually about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Lay off of it for another 10, 15 minutes and then come back to it. And that way you're not kind of, burning yourself out and forcing yourself through it.
Right.
And you can remember it piece by piece. So there's actually something to that.
Okay. I just noticed for me, it's a lot less frustrating when I take those breaks.
Right.
And for me, the burnout was something I'm bored with. Like I know a lot of I hate repetition.
Right.
Like we kind of talked about routines. I don't know if that was on the podcast or not.
I'm not
sure. That conversation, but like a routine or something that I do repetitively, that burns me out more than something that's stimulating would. I just have to take a break from the stimulating thing.
Right.
The boredom thing, if I'm not stimulated by it, that's what I get burnt out with very quickly.
For me, I mean, I don't know. I'm very similar in the sense of repetition. I hate repetition. Luckily, at my previous job, I was able to kind of switch positions somewhat frequently because before that, I noticed that the longest I'd ever stay at a job is about a year and a half. And that's because if I do the same thing for too long, I just get bored and pissed and not necessarily burn out, but kind of
stagnant.
Yeah, no longer intrigued by it. Yeah. As far as being burnt out, I don't really, I guess I kind of agree with you. I don't really get burnout too much as far as stuff that I'm interested in. I might have to take a break here and there, but really the burnout comes when it's something that I don't want to do. Like at the factory job that I previously had, working 90 hours a week, plus, that burns you out pretty quick. It's because I hated that job and I didn't want to be there. If I was listening to hip hop or podcasts or working on a podcast or whatever for 90 hours a week, I'd still get burnt out, but it'd be a little different.
Yeah.
A little bit different. So, not saying that you can't get burnt out with something that you love, but if you're getting burnt out really quickly and annoyed and frustrated with what you're doing on a daily, maybe you should, I guess, kind of reevaluate. Now, don't get that confused with needing to take a break every now and then. Everybody needs a break. So that's just some kind of internal reflection you would need to do. But yeah, I don't really get burnt out too much on things that really interest me.
Yeah, Mercedes, I would like to hear your, or at least what prompted that question from you. Your thoughts on what we said, on, what you go experience as far as being burnt out or what stimulates you. Hit us, on the plugs, and I will gladly look into that and maybe respond on the next one.
Right. She has, I do want to give her a shout out. She has been supporting us quite a bit on Twitter and, tagging us and stuff. And
Okay.
trying to get our name out. So
Appreciate
we do appreciate you. Next question here. This is something that I just kind of thought of on the way over, and I just kind of want to throw it in here. A little monkey wrench. Shit. Completely different topic, but
okay.
How do you feel about bidets? Completely different.
I
gotta know, man.
I mean, I guess I don't mind it.
Have you used one?
No.
Okay.
But thinking about it, I can see maybe getting used to it.
The reason I asked, though, is one of the podcasts that I listen to.
Yeah.
They're, like, all about their bidet and, like, love it and, like,
I don't know. It would take, I think, a good long while for me to...
Yeah, but with theirs, like, you can adjust the pressure. You can do if you want hot water or cold water or warm water or whatever. Yeah. And they say, like, people come up to them and say, like, you're gross and, that's disgusting. And they're like, dude, you're gross for not using them.
Honestly, right.
Because actually, I don't think it was on a podcast. I think maybe it was just another comedian. I'm not sure where I picked this up, but somebody said like if you had shit in your hair, like on your head, are you just gonna wipe it out with toilet paper?
No.
You're gonna need some water. You're gonna shower,
right?
You know, so
it's like a shower for your ass,
right?
I mean, I can't knock it in theory, but I being as I'm 31, I've never experienced that. It would definitely, I wouldn't have that urge to hop up off the toilet for at least the first 3-4 weeks.
Well, in all fairness, I don't think they got theirs till they were about 40, and now they
love it.
Them. Yeah,
they love it. Wouldn't go back to a normal toilet.
Hate it.
Does it
they said they feel quote disgusted when they use a regular toilet. Swear.
So, oh my gosh. Man, I don't ever see though. Like, where you buy one of those? You can't go in the Lowe's and buy a bidet.
You probably can.
Really? I mean,
I don't know.
Okay.
I've never.
It's been a while since I've been in a home improvement store, but and I'm thinking they're probably. You said it.
I don't think they're too much. A couple $100.
All the ones
maybe.
I've seen on TV, obviously, rich people have them. And they quote them at like $4 or $5 grand and shit, more than my fucking car. Yeah, dude, they're not.
These guys actually like quoted it down to their like model number. They're like, we have the blah 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 blah. Yeah, like loved it. Yeah.
So it completely eliminates the need for toilet paper in any fucking shape.
I don't know. I don't know if they still wipe afterwards.
Okay.
Or what?
That probably make me feel comfortable. I mean, especially the ones with the dryers on them.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, the ones that I've seen on TV actually have dryers.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's where the extra money comes in.
Okay, probably. And they actually dry it.
Wow.
So, but I mean, if for at least a while, I'm always going to at least take a square or two and be like, all right, we're good.
I feel like you have to. Yeah, I don't know. I just
That's
wanted
a good question, though.
wanted to ask. I've seen.
You know what? After this, I'm gonna look up and see what the cheapest one, the most realistic one I could probably buy is.
They were actually talking about it with their guest because their guest has one.
Okay.
And they said they didn't really use it that often. And they're like, "Well, what brand and model do you have?" And they're like, "I don't know. It was cheap." And they're like, "That's your problem." Like went in on this dude.
Wow, bro.
It was
awesome. Anybody who uses a fucking normal toilet.
Right. It was awesome. I've seen one in Hawaii when we were there, but I never used it or anything.
Is it on a public spot or in somebody's house? Or?
No, it was a house. Like we basically rented a huge house that had like 8 rooms and stuff. Like the whole family was there.
Okay.
Grandparents, cousins, like everybody. So
okay, and they had one there.
Yep.
Nice, bro.
Yeah, never used one,
question.
But
I love it.
Wanted to throw that in there. All right, so we'll move on to Justin's question. He said, in a world that is consistently getting more overwhelming, especially with kids, how do you keep yourself focused and grounded? And then he does have a secondary question after that, but we'll get to that after this. So, Steve, how do you keep yourself focused and grounded in kind of the state of the world right now?
So my kids are 7 and 9. I originally didn't want to have my first child until I was about now, like earliest 28.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even as a teen, I guess, the part that I was most excited for when it came to a kid, I mean, the early memories are fun. Don't get me wrong. Seeing them walk,
right,
talk, become themselves, see what kind of personality they have and all that. Fine and dandy. I was most interested in being able to influence the way that they view the world, view themselves,
right,
that type of thing. And at least my oldest, he's getting into that phase now where he's wondering or he's starting to think about who he is, and he's going through puberty. And I just want to do the things that I felt my parents should have did with me, or had they done with me,
right.
I might have made some better choices. I'm not saying either way, but I think I owe it to him. I owe it to myself to, at least try to. And I've always been big on not necessarily telling my kids, hey, you better do this, hey, you better do that. I would rather show them, hey, there's this route, and there's this route, and there's this route. This route will take you here. This route will take you there. This route will take you here. Make your decision.
Right.
And live with the consequences of that. That's the most important part. Whatever decision that you make, you know what I mean? You have to learn to live with the consequences, because that forces you to make better choices. You know what I mean? If you constantly ducking the consequences of all your bad decisions, you're never going to learn to make good ones.
Right.
So if I could instill that in them, as far as having the discipline to do that, like you said, life, man, it's just throw so many curveballs at you. There's so much going on. It's easy to get lost in all of that. And next thing you know, your kid's 15,
right,
18, and you're like, holy shit, did I do what I wanted to do? So it's just constantly reminding myself of the opportunity that I have to kind of influence, who they become when they're adults.
And yeah, I mean, kind of same thing for me. And I think it's basically what you're trying to say is stay in the moment.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yep.
So, I mean, obviously Harper's only like 1 now, a little over 1 year old. So there's not too much that can influence her quite yet. But yeah, as far as keeping myself focused to make sure I'm still a great parent and all that kind of stuff, it's just, and we talked a little bit before the podcast started, it's just something you have to do. You have to be there. But I think what Justin's trying to get at is a little bit deeper. Obviously you have to be there for him, but what about the days that you don't want to? Not necessarily that you don't want to, right, but it's a struggle to kind of be there. And it's just, for me, you just got to check yourself. I mean, really, you just got to understand where you're at, understand the situation, understand, once again, that you have to live in the moment. And like you said, too, there's so much stuff going on,
right, that
you have to be able to filter out the outside world.
Yes.
Be aware of it, but don't live in it,
yes,
I guess. Be able to, carry on without worrying about that stuff, and just teach them to be aware of it, but kind of do their own thing, I guess.
A big part of it for me too, Justin, is I know the things that I wanted when I was growing up. You know what I mean? And as a kid, you don't realize that money doesn't grow on fucking trees until you get your first job, and you realize, holy shit, I worked 30 hours, only got $200 in my pocket.
Right.
That's one outfit.
Right.
And food for 3 days.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Until that concept gets there, kids are just gonna want.
Right.
What keeps me focused and grounded a lot is realizing that, hey, I'm telling my kids they need to behave. You need to listen to your mom. You need to do your homework. You need to do your chores. But are they going to keep that if I can't reward them the way they would like to be rewarded?
Right.
So when my kid comes to me, hey, Dad, I want the new 2K. Hey, Dad, I want the Kyrie jersey. Well, I want to be able to say, well, as long as you're doing what you need to do, as long as you're handling your shit, right, that's not an issue. Right. If I don't stay focused and stay grounded and, do what I need to do, especially when they get older, things are only going to get more expensive. Right. Dad, I want the new LeBrons or the new Zions.
Yep.
Or whatever's going to be hot.
Yep, the Zion.
I want the new $200 Zions.
Yep.
I want to be able to say, shit, no problem, as long as you're handling your shit. Right. Because for me, I kind of lost that incentive to do good because I wasn't going to get shit. Like, my parents struggled, and I felt like they had their own agendas. That's another story, though. But, it was kind of like, okay, if I am good, I mean, the result's going to be the same. We're still not going to. I'm not going to get rewarded for it. So I'm going to just do what I want to do, right, and live with those consequences. So for me, a lot of it is understanding that I got to do what I need to do right now. That way, when that time comes, I can kind of give them that incentive to keep going and keep striving to be the best they can be, because there's rewards that come with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely have to lead by example. That's the biggest thing. Even on your tough days, I mean, once your kids kind of get a little older, I'm going to be the type of parent where I kind of level with them. Like, hey, today's kind of tough, but I'm still here. You know, I'm still working. I'm still doing this because this is part of life. This is what we need to do. You know, like you said, kind of instilling some work ethic in them. Between me and you, our childhoods were vastly different. But like for me, I actually really appreciate how my parents raised me. Okay. But it was because of the work ethic that they instilled in me. So I got my first job at 15 and a half, which I think is the youngest you can get a job in Ohio.
I thought it was 16, 15 and a half.
Well, this was
ahead of the curve,
you know, back this was like 15 years ago though too, almost. So 15 and a half, and as long as I could show up for all of my shifts and my grades didn't slip, then I was allowed with my own money to buy my own vehicle. But I had to prove myself. Right. And then once I could do that, now that I had my own vehicle, now I needed my own cell phone. Right. But I have to keep working to pay for that cell phone. So, you know, and now that I have a vehicle, I have insurance, and you got to keep working to pay for insurance. So I hated it, you know, as a 16-year-old, you know, putting in 35 hours a week at McDonald's. But one, that's actually where I met Tommy. So appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I hated it, man. But because I went through that, I was able to move out when I was 18. Kind of got into some shit here and there, but as far as work ethic go, that never really lacked. And that was because it was instilled in me from a young age. And that's the biggest thing, man, is just make sure you're instilling everything in them that you either wanted or needed as a kid, maybe something that you missed out on. But yeah, you just got to live in the moment as well, and that's how I'm going to stay grounded as much as I can. His second question was, if you had to choose one food to learn to cook and eat for the rest of your life, what would it be? I took this as kind of, you have to eat it and only this for the rest of your life. Is that how you took it as well? Yeah. Like every meal kind of thing? Yeah, one food, yeah. Okay. So for me, and once again, we discussed this a little before the podcast, but for me, it's pizza. You can make so many different things with pizza. You can have taco pizza, you can have buffalo chicken pizza, you can have spicy chicken pizza, you can have steak pizza, you can have vegetable pizza. You could probably deep fry pizza, I don't know, but you probably could.
Just so much room for activities.
Right. Second Step Brothers reference today. But yeah, so for me, that's pretty easy. It's pizza. You can get thin crust, you can get stuffed crust, you can...
Dude, how could you not? You'd be dumb not to pick it almost.
I mean... The only reason I would not pick it is because within a year I would be 7,000 pounds. But I mean, I would.
Fuck it, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would too. To be honest with you.
But listen, that reminds me of a story. I worked at Caesars for a few months back in like 2008, and I remember my first day. They told me, "You're gonna get tired of the pizza." I was like, "No, I'm not." Straight face. They was like, "Yes, you will," and I was like, "No, I'm not." Yeah. And I didn't. Right. Like any opportunity I had to take home free, yeah, that shit was going home, and it got ate every single fucking time. Like I love pizza. People were like, "God damn, he wasn't joking." Like, no, I'm not. I will eat that shit every. And you know, like I said, I've been trying to eat healthier.
How's that working?
Oh, it's a struggle, man, but I'm definitely in a better spot than I was even a year ago. Work in progress, though. Yeah. But there's only two foods that I crave. Two foods that, you know, okay, obviously you like bad food and you'll eat bad food, but I don't really crave anything but two, and that's pizza and some goddamn baby back ribs, bro.
Nice. Okay.
Them are the only two that I actually like crave. Everything else I can kind of think about and be like, I can live without that.
I couldn't live off baby back ribs though. There's only so much you can do with it.
Yeah, true. But yeah, pizza, I'll always crave it, man. So, it wouldn't be nothing to eat just
now. What about burgers? Because, you're just cooking some hamburger, but there's so many different things you can do with it. Because that's my thing, speaking of cravings, is I like burgers and subs and really good sandwiches and just things like that. So that would be my thing. If it wasn't pizza, it would probably be some type of burger or I guess a deli type sandwich. But I can't make the same deli sandwich for the next 60 years either.
I used to love burgers a lot more than I do now, that's for sure. But I don't know if I could make enough. I think even then I will get tired of it.
Yeah.
Then.
I feel like it's a lot more limiting than pizza is.
On the topic, random side question, note, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
You ever know anybody to actually boil their fucking hamburgers?
Boil?
Yeah, it's the weirdest shit ever.
No.
Like, I had somebody...
I've never heard of that.
I forgot who I was with. And, yeah, bro. And actually, it wasn't that bad.
Do they cook it first and then boil it?
No.
Or?
It's a frozen fucking patty. I don't know you can do it with a, regular, you know what I mean? Freshly made patties. Frozen patty, fucking pot of water, put the motherfucking patty in there, and literally boil it.
For how long?
Until it's done.
Like multiple minutes?
I mean,
like more than a minute?
Yeah. It probably takes between 7 to 10. But it somehow
and then
stays
it's done
together.
Like there's nothing else you have to do with it?
No. It's just yeah, but surprisingly exactly. But when you take the motherfucker out and put some seasonings on it, bro, put some cheese on it and shit, it wasn't near as bad as you think it would be. But I was like, who the fuck taught you this?
Put some cheese on that bitch.
Dude, but that's the one and only time I've ever had it. But yeah, I don't know why they did it. Maybe they thought it was healthier for you or something. I don't fucking know. But
it's definitely not quicker then.
No.
If it's like 7 minutes or something.
No, it's not.
And it's not like you're saving on dishes because you're going to have to wash that just like a pan.
Yeah. But the only thing I can really think of is maybe it's a bit healthier. Boiling all the fat and shit out of it. And I don't fucking know, bro. But yeah, my point is, it's not near as bad as what you would think it would be. It was alright. It was okay. But he's the only person that I've ever seen or even mention that.
Huh?
Crazy.
And he does it consistently.
I don't know about that. He was like, "You ever boiled them?" And he's like, "Just try it," and he fucking did it. Yep. Huh. And yeah.
All right.
Like, wow. It's like almost
whatever.
I think I'd put it in the microwave before I did that, but like I said, it wasn't that bad.
Huh. Interesting. Next question here is actually from Maddie. This one is a little strange, and it can either be a 2-second answer or we can dive in real deep with it.
Okay. True.
Kind of depending on how we want to go. The question, though, that she asked is, does a paper towel roll have 1 or 2 holes? So at the end of the paper towel roll, each end, is that 2 holes or is that actually 1 hole?
All right. First of all, Maddie, what the fuck?
Right.
Second of all, thinking about it, the answer was obvious to me, but I kind of was on the fence for a while, and then I went back to yes. It is 1 hole.
Okay.
One hole. Because you think about any other hole, you got a hole in your pocket. There's a hole at the top. There's a hole at the bottom. There's just 1 hole. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You kind of, I think for it to have 2 holes, it had to be something that blocks it from going from one side of the roll completely to the other side.
But then it's not a hole. Then it's a.
Why isn't it?
If something blocks it, then it's just like a.
A what?
I mean, not a hole though. It's
like a hole. So a hole you have to see through the other side for it to be a hole?
I would think. Because with your same analogy, if you could poke through one side of your pocket, but you still hit the other side, is that a hole?
Okay, so when you get shot and you can't see through the other side, is that a hole?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but to me, it's 1 hole. And I actually looked up the definition of a damn hole. And And Webster says, who's always right,
Webster.
an opening through something, gap, aperture, and the examples it gives is a hole in the roof, a hole in my sock. Now I thought a hole in my pocket, and it was like, okay, if I had a hole in my pocket and like change fell down into my fucking ankles and shit, would that be 2 holes? Because you have the hole to put the change in, and then the one that it falls out of, or is that 1 hole? You know what I mean? Or 2 holes, or whatever. So that's a very great question, but god damn it.
So for me, the way I looked at it, the first thing I thought of is, I mean, I still don't know, man. So like, if you had one hole through the center of the center of the Earth, right?
Okay.
From here to China, is that 1 hole or is that 2?
And the other side of this hole was coming out of China or the U.S. Right. To me, that's 1 hole.
That's 1 hole?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because to me, I guess...
So you count each opening as a hole.
That's what the conclusion I came to is, for me, the entrances and the openings are the holes. So, like, for your pocket, it's so thin that that's one hole. Right. Because there's no real distance between them. But when you add in distance of however long, even a paper towel roll, it is 1 opening.
2 holes.
I don't know. Because, like, if you're an ant on the top of the paper towel roll and you're looking down, you have a hole there. But then if you're an ant on the other end, you have a hole there, too. I guess it's the same hole, though.
Yeah, it's 1 hole.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
That's a good question, though, Maddie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we could go deep into it, or it could be a real easy answer.
Initially, it was like, duh, that's 1. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, you could argue 2, I guess. But then I came to that conclusion, well, if I put something in the middle to where, like, I can't see through the other side, does that make it 2 holes? Or is it still 1 hole? Or was it ever 1 hole? Was it always 2 holes? Like,
yeah. This question just, it gets more complicated the more you think about it. And definitely. I don't know if that was her intention or not, or if she just, like, kind of threw it in there because she thought it was funny. But with us two, we could talk about this for probably a while.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Yeah.
For me, I think
I like it.
I guess I was persuaded and kind of think it's 1 hole.
Okay.
Leaning 45% to the 2 hole side. So I don't know. Tommy submitted a question for us. This one's kind of a serious one, and I think it'd be kind of fun to get into. When you hear the potential horror stories of the future of the Earth, if we don't change our act in regards to climate change, as parents, do you legitimately worry about your children's or potential grandchildren's quality of life? That's a great question. Mm-hmm. I'll let you go first with that one.
Okay. Do I think my kids' life will be affected? No. Not to say that climate change isn't real. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I think it's clear evidence of.
Yeah, we both believe in climate change.
Glaciers aren't melting just because they feel like melting right now.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it'll be a gradual thing that'll happen over a few generations, not necessarily, this one or even the next one. Mm-hmm. So will my kids, though, my kids, I think somewhere in their lifetime they might start to see like true if we keep going the way we are. Right. I feel like a lot of companies though are doing their part, and that's something I wanted to touch on too. Because it's hard for me to sit here and be like, okay, I believe climate change is a real thing, and I think that we need to do what we can. We have a responsibility to those future generations to do what we can to minimize that. But okay, so what are the barriers for me to like recycling or, and Mansfield don't have no fucking recycling centers, dude. Somebody told me there's one in Lexington. You live close.
So I know you can go to Mill Iron and recycle cans. Yeah.
Oh, cans.
Well, yeah.
I don't really.
I think they do like paper and all that too. I could be
Dude,
wrong.
I've asked around, man, and everybody tells me Lexington, or it's not. It's another town around here. It's kind of far. It's farther than Lexington for sure. It's not Shelby or Gallion or anything like that. It might be Gallion. Anyway, it's a drive.
Right.
It's not something that I.
But is the world worth it?
Exactly. Is it worth it for me to take all that, save all this plastic, get in the habit of doing that, bagging this shit up, and saving it in my house somewhere, only for me to drive 15, 20 minutes over here to this station and drop it off and be like, yeah, I did my part and feel good about that? I don't see myself doing that. I honestly thought, like, hey, we should look, and if there's a recycling plant in Mansfield, let's try it.
Right.
But I'm not driving. I guess it's not worth it to me.
It's not convenient enough.
Yeah, and I hate saying that, but that's just the reality of it.
Let me ask you this. If it was the norm for everybody on Saturday to go drop their recycling in Gallion, everybody did it, the whole apartment complex, the whole town or whatever.
Would I feel pressure to do it?
Yeah, would you do it at that point? Because the reason I ask is it only takes one person to start. So if you start, maybe your neighbor will be like, what are you doing with all that plastic?
I can honestly see myself being like, can you take this with you?
Right.
More so than me driving it.
Same.
But I guess if my neighbors got on my ass about it, like, dude, I seen your bag of trash yesterday, and it had like 30 gallons of fucking plastic in it.
Right.
You need to get on your shit, take that shit over to and it kept happening over and over. I don't know. I think the biggest thing is getting in the habit of doing it. Cans, I mean, we kind of used to do that over on, on Poplar.
Yeah.
A little bit, because we ran through a lot of cans there.
Yep.
Me, I don't run through a lot of cans. It'd definitely be more plastic than anything. But back to the original question.
Well, for me, I guess I'm with you there. Not that it's not important, but I don't think it's going to affect the next generation too much. Now, they did say something recently, like we have 12 years or something to kind of fix this before it becomes unmanageable, where it kind of hits the tipping point to where...
Or like irreversible?
Yeah, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think a lot of people are more inclined to do it. I don't personally see, like you said, our input with it is going to make the biggest impact. Now, I think all businesses should recycle.
Yeah.
I think that should be a standard.
Yeah.
All businesses, because then where you are 40 hours a week, you'd be required to recycle. Yeah. And I think that would go a long way.
Does your job do it?
They have recycling bins and containers. Yeah.
Nice. I know my job tries. But like you said, it's a lot of people that just don't care about the environment enough to take the shit actually where it needs to go. We have spots where you can put plastic and put cardboard and put paper. But, when motherfuckers want to go home,
they're just
find this trash can right here. And, humans, man, we're going to end up offing ourselves, I feel like, because we just don't care enough about
pure laziness.
Yeah, we just, I don't know what it is, entitlement or whatever, man. But I guess, I guess I don't give a shit enough to really do what I need to right now at this point. Well, like I said, if it was something in Mansfield, I think I would have started already. Me and, Corinne have already talked about doing that. But then we looked stuff up, asked around, like, where do you go? And people say they drive to Lexington and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I'm willing to do all that, man. So
I guess for me too, back with the grandchildren, at least that aspect.
Yeah.
I think maybe when they're here, and we're 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
And we might see what it's doing to them.
Right.
At that point, we would do it. But that comes back to kind of being lazy, and because it's coming, we just, collectively, we both just basically said we don't want to do it until we see some results kind of thing, or we see that it matters.
Right.
So I think when the grandchildren are here and maybe now something's happening to where they can't do certain things, or, maybe can't go certain places because of the pollution or whatever it might be.
Right.
At that point, I think we would both kind of take some action. But at that point it's also too late. So it's a good question from Tom, and I think it brings up a lot of good points of, yeah, we're lazy now, but why? I mean, when I think in 50 years we won't be. Why not start now?
And honestly, man, I'm more worried about the animals right now than the humans.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's affecting them right now.
Right.
Like, literally every fucking day right now. Like, I watch a lot of animal documentaries, man, and you can see it. The shit that they go through because of us and our negligence. I noticed myself over the years, I used to litter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Driving down the street, just throw shit out the window.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I think that's a teenager thing, though.
Yeah, and then as I've gotten older, I realized, like, even that type of little shit, if everybody does it every single day, you know, and then, you know, the landfills and everything, and how people just dump shit in the rivers and all that plastic, it just don't deteriorate. It just sticks around for years and years and years, and I think they've actually found, like, traces of plastic inside of animals and shit that we consume. Like,
I believe it.
Yeah, so my thing right now is, like, we need to do more to try to save the animals because they're getting hit with it right now. We're to come, but they're going through it right now.
Yeah, I think as humans, we're smart enough to at least battle the effects as long as we can. We can come up with gas masks or, you know, whatever we might need to, you know, from a technology standpoint to at least allow us to last a little longer with the conditions. But yeah, the animals got nothing, man. They depend on us to keep shit in order. Really? Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, great question from Tom. We got two more here. The next one's actually from Sarah. If you won the lottery, what would be the first thing you would buy? For me personally, it would have to be some type of car. Just as the first thing I would buy, not necessarily the main thing. I would probably, honestly, just go get a Subaru WRX.
All right.
Right now. Just a brand new one off the lot. Just have fun with it while I'm searching for the Ferrari I want. You know?
Right.
But I think that's probably the first thing I would buy. And then probably shortly after that, another motorcycle, even though I love the bike that I have now. But yeah, I would definitely buy a Subaru and then maybe a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Those two are both I've always said, my realistic dream cars.
Right, yeah.
To where it's possible to own one day. It's not that they're crazy expensive, but they're up there enough to where I can't get one like right now.
Yeah.
But they're my realistic dream car, something that I can actually get, and I plan on getting it at some point. But that would be my first couple things anyway.
Mine would, I have to agree with you on the car thing. I've always said my realistic dream, you know, you have a realistic dream car and then you got your dream car.
Right. Very different things.
Yes. My dream car would be the Maybach 6.2.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever seen the one that's white on white, dude, with the white interior and the white paint.
Too much white, man.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna drive around like I'm Jesus.
Too?
Yeah. Ooh. It's white on white, bro.
Crispy.
And that's something that I probably wouldn't even. I had to put on brand new socks, no shoes, brand new socks every time I got in it, and made sure I just took a shower within the last hour.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely smoking in it.
Oh, yeah.
I've always said my realistic, like, what would make me feel like I actually did something with my fucking life, for me, is I want a Benz, man.
Okay.
And Benz have changed their models a lot over the years. I used to want like a S550 or S600, but now they have a model, I think it's called the CLK, something like that.
Yeah.
500.
CLK, yeah.
Yeah. Sexy little bitch. But that'd probably be some sort of Benz, man. But I was thinking, man, you know what? My friend pulled up and his 2020 Malibu, and that bitch has so many bells and whistles in it.
Yep.
Just even 15 years ago, that would have been like the
legendary.
Top. Yeah, like, oh my God. Like, you know, like, and it's just a 2020 Chevy fucking Malibu.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I could easily, I've never had nothing like that, dude.
Right.
I mean, I could easily probably go drop 50 grand, 40 even, and 2020 something and be thoroughly impressed with it.
Right. Absolutely. That's why I would get my Subaru.
Yeah.
Because I'd just be
They
Super
still
happy
make.
with.
You said the WRX.
Yeah.
Do they still make those?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I haven't seen a newer one. All the ones I see are like older and
Nice,
I don't want to say
dude.
older, but like they're
Couple
souped
years or
up
so.
and
Yeah. Well,
you
that's
can
because
tell-
nobody can afford one. A brand new WRX, like beastly, like the one I want. Like, well, the base price of one with like crank windows and shit. I don't know if they even offer that anymore, but this was a couple years ago. Was like $38,000, like a
Okay.
base one. And these are rally cars, so these are
Right.
racing cars basically.
Uh-huh.
So the souped up, the one that you want, the one that looks nice with the exhaust and the sound system and the, all that kind of stuff, the nice racing suspension and the clutch and all this stuff. I mean, 50, 55, easy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't
So
even-
you don't
I had
see
no
very
idea.
many new ones.
Right.
And when people get them, they only kind of like with your Maybach, they only drive it certain times.
Right. Right.
They only drive it kind of like our shoes, our Jordans, when it's not raining, when it's going to be a perfect day outside and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. So
Right. But I have to throw my second, probably biggest purchase in it. My dream is to build my fucking house from the ground up.
that would be awesome.
I would never, if I had the money to, I would never go buy a house. I would just buy some land.
Mm-hmm.
I love ranch style cribs, one story.
Yeah.
It'd be wide as shit and just take up a lot of area for no reason. But yeah, ranch style, design exactly how the fuck I want to, man. And I design it to the point I will never want to leave my own
Right.
fucking house.
I've
I've always
always-
go get groceries and shit and something like that.
Yeah. If I built my own house, I've always loved the houses that have like, I don't even know what they're called, but like the main floor, but then in the main floor you go like 2 steps down, like a little half step down
Uh-huh.
into the living room or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's not a different story or anything like that, but
right.
it's just lowered into the ground a little bit or whatever.
Right.
I've always loved the look and feel
Gotcha.
of
Yeah,
that.
I don't know what those are called. But
Like
like
a
the entry
half
part is
level
like
type
like
thing.
a stage almost. And
Yeah.
you kind of step down into like the
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Last question here was actually from Jake, and I just kind of mentioned
Jake from State Farm.
no. He does like to wear khakis though. But he said, what is the most overrated and underrated Jordans that you can think of? Jake's a big shoe guy. We both are as well.
Yeah.
All three of us love Jordans. So, do you want to start this, or you want me to start
Yeah,
this?
so when I heard the question, my first question was, are we talking models or are we talking colorways? Because colorways, you had to give me a week.
Right. There's so
models,
many.
though. Okay, so what I wanted to say about the models. First of all, a lot of people only think of 1 through 14. I personally go 1 through 23.
Jeez. I can't keep track of all those, man. Yeah, I think like 1
Yeah.
through 13,
Yeah.
14 maybe, and just
14
kinda
is about the
drop
deadline
off.
because
Yeah.
he came back and wore a couple of the models after that, but we'll stick with 1 through 14
Okay.
because everybody that is in the Jordans knows at least those models. Pretty good.
Right.
The older I got, the more I realized that a lot of people's love for these different models of Jordan is because of what he did in them, not necessarily because of the way that they feel or designed.
The
It's
nostalgia.
what he did when he wore the 4 or the 5 or the 8. So taking that out of the picture and going strictly on looks, I think the most overrated.
We might fight.
Yeah,
Oh no.
going 1 through overrated. I'm not saying that it's the worst model 1 through 14, but definitely the 4.
Fuck off. Dude.
Definitely the 4.
Why?
I don't think it's that beautiful of a shoe, to be honest. In certain colorways, yes. Travis Scott's kill.
Yep.
I think the most underrated model is so many 4s, so many all of them. But I really love the laser 4. I had a pair.
Okay.
You remember
Yep.
those? The
Yep.
white lasers, not the
Yep.
black ones.
Yep.
With the clear bottoms on them. I
Yep.
really love that shoe. Just because of the way it looked. That's a model for me that is hit and miss. And a lot of people love their 4s. They love their 3s. They love their 4s. They love their 1s.
Yep.
You're
You're talking to me right now. Those are mine.
And I can see why, definitely. And then, a lot of it I didn't realize, because he did this, this, and this in that shoe. And he did this, this, and this. He won his first 3 titles in these shoes.
Right.
So I get that. But if we talking as far as, looks, for me, it would have to be the 4. The most underrated model, I'm going to have to say, wow, 1 through 14? Shit. Underrated? I'm going to have to give it to the 13. I think the 13 is a badass model. It's hard to...
So I don't want to fight Da Vinci anymore. I want to fight you.
It's hard to make a... I'm not saying there aren't any ugly 13s to me, but it's pretty hard to make an ugly 13, in my opinion.
See, for me, I mean, we're completely opposite here. My most underrated is... I mean, 4s are my favorite. I would say probably the most underrated is the 3.
Ooh.
I know...
You get your ass beat for that one, too.
I know a lot of people kind of don't like the 3 just because it's basic.
Oh, you said underrated?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because I like my 3s. I got a pair of Tinkers and love them. They're actually the most comfortable Jordans I have.
3s are.
Yeah.
I got my free throw lines are the first ones, and they are.
Yep.
Out the box, dude.
Yep. But yeah, I love the 3s. They're growing on me. I wish they had more colorways because I'm just not...
There's a lot of all of them.
I mean, there's a lot, but a lot of them look very similar too.
Okay. Yeah.
But you're
right.
It's because there's not too much going on
here and there.
Yeah, there's not too much going on with the shoe, but overall, I would say 3s or 4s are the most underrated, in my opinion.
Dude, they get so much hype, though. They get a lot of love.
I guess I probably just hang around with you too much.
Okay.
Hating on the 4s all the time.
The 4s are revered.
That's definitely my favorite. 4s are definitely my favorite. And my most overrated, 13s are up there.
Okay.
For me. The 14s I didn't really like too much, but then you had the Ferraris.
Yeah.
And those are fire.
I still got Ferraris, yeah.
So those kind of grew on me a little bit. But I would say the most overrated, and it's probably the most common pair that I see, is the 11s.
Oh! Yeah. No, he didn't.
I hate the 11s.
No, he didn't.
I hate the 11s.
All of them?
They have some good colorways. The reason I hate the 11s is there is nothing to them. There is nothing to them. They're all it's a solid color
most times,
with like a little bit of accents on the side, but there's nothing to them.
You telling me the Concord 11 is whack? That black
There's
on that
better.
white with that hint of purple on it?
Now, purple gets me.
And that,
I love purple.
And that patent leather mudguard on that motherfucker, man.
I can't do.
Wow,
I
that's
can't do
crazy,
the 11s.
man.
I can't do them, and I think it's because if I'm gonna pay that much for a pair of Jordans, I need something that sticks out.
Yeah.
So, like for me, my Jordan kind of said I have a couple pairs of 1s. I think 3 pairs, and those are more like everyday wears. Because they're not too expensive. I'm not too worried if they get a little dirty or whatever. But after that, I got the Tinker 3s. I got the Toro Bravo 4s.
Sexy 4s.
And the Travis Scott 4s.
You got probably the only 2 of the only 3 4s I like.
Yeah.
You have them. Yeah.
But it's because if I'm going to spend that much money on a pair, they're going to have a little bit of flair. They're going to have a little bit of pop.
Right.
Myself, I predominantly wear like gray and white and black just clothing in general. I'm not too much of a colorful kind of guy, except when it comes to my shoes and my socks. I don't know if I've shown you. Have I shown you these are Air Force Ones, so they're a little different. But have I shown you the ones that I custom built?
Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. You get those?
Not yet. I'm probably about to order them soon. But
okay. Them is fire. Dude.
Right. It's because there's a little bit of purple on them. There's a little bit of flair to it. And those are cheap enough that those can be kind of an everyday wear and still have a little bit of flair.
Right.
The ones I have the Derek Jeter Respect ones, which are just the navy blue with the white stitching and the tan bottom. Little bit of flash, but more of an everyday wear.
Yeah.
I have the Flight of LA, which is the all black with the gold accents. Pretty standard. You know, I can kind of wear that with whatever at work. But like I said, when it gets to more expensive stuff, anything over $150, I'm looking for something that pops.
Right. I hear
you know? And that's why I like the Tinkers. That's why I like the the Toros, the Travis Scotts, and stuff like that. But yeah, the 11s, I know, and that's why I said they're so common. I think that kind of saturated it for me too. Everybody wears them. I don't know if it's just because nobody takes care of them or what. I just see some dirty ass 11s all the time, and just like they don't impress me.
Yeah,
I can look at them. So like the Travis Scotts, you know, even if you don't like shoes, you don't know anything about them, you can look at them and say, those are some nice shoes, whether you like them or not.
Right.
Those are some pretty awesome shoes.
Yeah.
The 11s, you're just gonna walk by. They're not gonna pop out at you.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Whatever, bro. I need some feedback from somebody else on this, please.
Jake, hit us up.
Please.
I know Jake likes the Fords a lot
11s don't
too.
pop. None of them.
They just don't pop how I want them to.
I mean, there's shiny ass patent leather on it.
See, I don't like shiny.
Well, we're talking pop. How does shine not pop?
More colorways, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy how we're friends, because, yeah, over on Jordans, bro, we be fighting. But
yeah.
You do have two of the only probably 3 forwards I can think of that I like right now.
I think the next pair I'm going to get to, hopefully they're going to be my most expensive pair, even more than the Travis Scotts, is the Chicago's, the ones.
Oh, my God. And, you know, ones, I secretly hated ones for a long time.
I did too.
I didn't sell anybody that because I knew I'd get shot on sight. But honestly, they reminded me too much of Air Force Ones.
Yeah. Yep.
And I used to rock a lot of Air Force Ones. And then when I kind of grew out of that, I was like, well, no, I'm not going to get a one. Just kind of going back to Air Force One in a way.
Right.
But definitely the ones are fire in a lot of colorways.
Right.
And I've yet to own a pair of ones. I don't think I've ever had a pair of ones. But all the ones I want, they want fucking $400-500 on the resale. Right. I would love a pair of top 3s.
Yep. See, I didn't like top 3s either, but once again, one of the podcasts I watched, he was wearing top 3s for an hour and a half, and I'm just staring at his feet this whole time. And I'm like, man,
they look a lot better on feet.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah,
definitely
a lot of ones do, in my opinion.
Yep.
But yeah, that's probably my next Jordan pickup. I'm forcing myself to get a one, only because I've never had one, and it is probably one of the few models 1 through 14 I haven't had yet.
If you're gonna get a one, man, I would recommend getting them off like StockX or something like that. There's ones around here at the mall and stuff, but like they're the extremely basic ones.
Yeah.
And once again, I mean, if I'm spending that much money on shoes, I want something nice. The only reason I have all 3 pairs of the ones that I have is because I wanted them for everyday use.
Right.
Because I wasn't worried about them getting messed up or whatever.
Yeah, timeless design. But probably the band ones.
Yep. Fire.
What did I just say? The top 3s. And those are probably in my top 3 or 4. I can't think of my third favorite one right now. But yeah, that's probably like I said, I'm forcing myself to buy a one before I buy any other Jordan. So they were supposed to release the bands on Black Friday this year, but I think they scrapped it. It's going to come out next year. Oh no, Chicago's are coming out next year.
Ooh.
Wait on Chicago's.
Okay.
Because they're dropping them All-Star Weekend.
Okay.
You probably get them less for what you can now if you wait until then.
Yeah, I'll have to look at them.
When they hit the market, they'll at least be a little bit cheaper for a while.
There's 2 different versions, and I'm probably going to get the years wrong, but I think there's the 2015s and the 2017s on
What's different about them?
Really the only thing that's different, and like I said, the years I have are probably wrong, but the only thing that's different is on the tongue, the little tag at the top. One of them has Nike, and one of them has Jordan. Like Nike Air, or Jordan, right? Yeah, and one of them's a white tag with red lettering, and the other one's like a red tag with white lettering.
Okay.
And I think they're the 15s. I'd have to look again, but honestly, it's J. Cole, man, is who kind of inspired me to get those, because in I think 3 or 4 of his videos recently, he's wearing them. Okay. I'm like, man, those are nice. Yeah. And I just like the way they look on feet. So
yeah, they definitely look a lot better on when you got them on than they do just sitting there.
I think at this point we should probably end the podcast before we really start to fight. Jake, if if the podcast no longer starts, blame Jake West because one of us got murdered because we disagree on Jordans quite a bit. And I knew we would, which is why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we appreciate you listening to episode 5 here. We are releasing episodes later in the week now, probably Thursday or Friday, rather than on Sundays. So look out for that. But yeah, we appreciate everybody's submissions and all that.
Yes, thank you. Awesome questions. Keep them coming. We love doing them. We love doing them.
Any feedback or any rebuttals of any of the answers, just let us know. We'll try to talk it out as much as we can. Hopefully not throw fists or anything like that. But make sure to follow us everywhere. On Instagram, we're at Average AF Podcast. On Twitter, we're at Average AF Pod. And then on Facebook and YouTube as well. But yeah, man, anything you want to add at the end there?
No, man. I think we had a fun episode. Thank you guys for checking us out. Continue to look for us. We're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
And keep doing it.
Yep. We got big things coming. We're going to start incorporating guests here relatively soon. We just wanted to kind of get the feel, with both of us. And
yeah, I'm shooting before it gets cold. So we got probably a month or two.
Okay.
Solid month and a half, 2 months before we get to that point.
But yeah, we're going to be incorporating guests here soon. If you guys want to be a guest or have anybody that would be a good guest, whether it's somebody that runs a local business or somebody that has an interesting life, interesting stories, something like that, just let us know. We'll try to get you on as quick as possible. But we appreciate you guys listening, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. But other than that, have a good night.
And we out.